What is our political colleagues, elite saying about a worker?
The organized union claims to have concluded negotiations with the federal government in September on a new minimum wage of 30,000 naira and expects that it be implemented and not debated again.
Can you allow us so that when we finish, we'll go for the
But the governors, after a closed-door meeting with the economic management team at the State House, say otherwise.
Following a meeting of Nigerian Governors Forum, where we deliberated on the national minimum wage, after a briefing from our representative and the tripartite committee, we submitted as follows. The welfare of all Nigerians is our ultimate concern in all over the states. We are concerned about the threatening economic situation experienced by vulnerable segment of our population. It is therefore considered position that since the percentage of salaries workers is not more than 5% of the total working population, our position must not just reflect a figure, but a sustainable strategy based on the ability and capacity to pay, as well as reflective of all developmental needs in each state. It is in this sense that we feel strongly that acceptable minimum wage must be done in a manner that the total personnel costs does not exceed 50% of the total revenue available to each state. Governors therefore agree to pay a national minimum wage of 22,500 naira only.
The Labour Minister had earlier announced that the tripartite committee on minimum wage would conclude in October all processes concerning the new national minimum wage.
The issue of 30,000 was a compromise position that was agreed at the tripartite negotiating table. It wasn't the demand of Labour. It wasn't a figure imposed by Labour. It was mutually agreed at the conclusion of the meeting of the tripartite negotiating committee on the 5th of October this year. And therefore, this is the stand of Labour. This is the stand of organized Labour. Minimum wage is not an allocation. It's not a unilateral award. It is negotiated. And therefore, the known process of arriving at figure is a tripartite negotiation. And therefore, I think at this point, Labour need to reiterate that the allocation or award of 22,500 is hereby rejected. It has no place in collective bargaining process. And therefore, I want to reiterate, just as the neck of NLC have actually pronounced that without making sure that the issue of the minimum wage of 30,000, which was mutually agreed through a well-known process of collective bargaining, accepted and also put into law, certainly the action that had been proposed for the 6th of October, of November, a national industrial action will actually take necessary steps to give effect to that.
There is victory for our victory. There is victory for our...
The Trade Union Congress holds its National Executive Council meeting. The demand is the same. Nothing is changing.
We have finished negotiation. The report is ready. So are we going to reopen negotiation? So we have concluded on that. So it's an afterthought. Everybody that is proposing a new figure should have proposed or submitted that at the tripartite committee meeting. And if you are doing that now, it's belated. What is our fault after we have concluded our sitting? Shall we stay infinitely without submitting our report for government to take the further necessary action? Our position is no. It's either now or never.
And the committee agree on 30%
as a recommendation to the federal government. So if there is any state that cannot pay, the state should assemble all its workers and tell them, not in Abuja, but in their different states.
Labour leaders say government's no work, no pay idea will not work.
No, government is trying to intimidate labor, and we are not going to be intimidated. We will refuse to be intimidated. The pressure will be on the government, because they were adequately represented at that tripartite committee level. And if there's anything at all, they should allow the committee to submit its report before any deliberation. By the 6th of November, there will be strike action nationwide. And you will see that we have obtained the endorsement of our NEC.
At the time, 18,000 naira was set as the minimum wage, which is still the current take-home for workers. It was equivalent to $125 US. At today's rate, it has diminished to less than $50. The president of the NLC insists that the high cost of governance in the country is a major disadvantage to the welfare of an average Nigerian worker.
All labor laws must be changed to favor workers because they create the wealth. This is the theme of this celebration globally. Change the rule so that human dignity can be respected.
If there are two words that the Nigerian worker holds sacred, it would most likely be minimum wage. For many years, civil servants have been filing out on streets, agitating that their take-home pay agree with the dictates of economic demands. Since 1981 till present day, the minimum wage has been tinkered with 5 times. The first happening in 1981 under the Shehu Shagari administration. It has increased several times after that, but only after the nation is almost paralyzed due to the shutdown of economic activities by the labor unions. The current wage grade of 18,000 naira, implemented by the Goodluck Jonathan administration, is estimated to be around $50 US. To some, it is a meal bill in a restaurant, but to these workers, it comprises of house rent, feeding for the household, extended family responsibilities, school fees, medical bills, transportation, and many more. As it stands, about 23 states are owing workers months of salaries. This time, the workers take a stand.
30,000 as of today is still a starvation wage. But when you look at some other variables, that including the ability to pay, that was why labor succumbed to 30,000 naira. Because 30,000 naira is less than 1,000 naira a day. And even the bricklayers, the carpenters, none of them take even 2,000 a day for a day job. And I have not seen how a government would make its job so precarious that a worker can earn 1,000 naira a day. On a month of 31 days, they can't get up to 1,000. And you have a family of 6 living on 1,000 a day. It amounts to less than 50 naira per person, per meal. So I think you can see that with that, the only meal, you can't talk of house rent, you can't talk of Medicare, you can't talk of school fees, you can't talk of transportation. That is what we want Nigerians to see. Instead of mentioning 30,000 naira, it is not a living wage.
To remain in this adamant position, giving excuses or playing a blame game with regards to minimum wage, the Nigeria organized labor will enforce a stay-at-home throughout the moment of the INEC election timetable. And when the people are at home, nobody participates in the election. You can't be angry and be electing who? The people that are on the queue for this election, some of them are still the umpires that we have in the country. Some of them are still the people that have no priority to the welfare of the people. Anybody that have no regard to a Nigerian worker will never have regard for Nigeria when they get up there.